Hi, welcome to this video on the financial reporting metrics. Today I'm going to cover the new features in version 8.1. So let's go to Power BI Desktop. First off, I'll start with commenting, which is a new feature requested by a lot of our users. So commenting allows you to add comments to cells. You select the visual and you go to the format pane and you'll see commenting as one of the top features listed. You start by turning it on, and then you get this speech bubble down in the right corner of the visual. And if you expand on the commenting options, you'll see that you can select the placement of where you want the speech bubble to be. You can choose to hide it. If you want to do a PDF of it, you might not want the speech bubble as part of a PDF export. So you can hide it like this, and it's going to be visible once you hover over the visual anywhere, and then you can use it. So then we'll have some other options, and I'll show those with the comments pane open. So this is the list of comments that are available in this specific context. Now I'm filtered on Department Stavanger at year 2022. And we can see this triangle indicating that there's a comment there. And here's the comment. And the comments you add will have the context in the comment title. So you'll see cost of goods for 2022, Stavanger, and the measure is diff. So that means the row is cost of goods. So it's on this row, and the column context is 2022, Stavanger, diff. Then you get this cell. You also get the value of the cell, so you can identify it easily. And then you can read the comments. And you can also see how many replies you have, so you can add a thread to this. So I've asked where this cost is going. My colleague is Joachim is saying it's spent on other, which I could see if I just expanded this myself. So most of the cost is on this row right there, and he's going to look into it. And then I can say, great, looking forward to an update. Now, we don't have access to which user is logged in to the visual because it's certified, so we don't have access to any outside information. So we cannot automatically pick up the user. You need to type in the name yourself. Then I can apply this, and then you can see the list of replies. If I go back to the comment list, you'll see the list of every comment that's available. Now there's only one, but this one has 2 replies. I can go in and edit the existing comment. I can delete it, and you get a warning message if you want to or not. And I can click on a new cell to add a new comment. What's happening here? Then apply. And now you see that the comments are listed based on the order they're placed. So if I go down to, let's say, this one as well. My name is Anders, and then this is great for the bottom line, but what's the reason for this difference? Then you see that's going to be added to the top of the list, but you can click and just drag them in the order you want, so you can make them listed in the order you want to show them. Now if you go to the comment title option in the format pane again, you can see here that there's a drop down list which lists the different ways you can see the header. So row name, column name will list the name of the row and then the column. If you select the opposite, it's going to be the opposite. So it's going to show you the column info first and then the row. You can select to only show row, so you only see where this is added, or you can only see the column header. If you select any of these that have the column header available, you can also tick off the ones you're interested in seeing. So if year is not important, you can take that out of the header. Same with department or the measure. So if we take the measure out, you see you're left with now the row name and the one field from the column hierarchy that you're interested in seeing as part of the header. You can also see now the date it's created, and if we change this format to a different one, you see the format updates. So that's where you would update that one. If I X out the comment pane, you'll see I have 3 comments in this selection. If I select a different department, you'll see there's no comments for this. If I select all departments, you can see I have 3. And if I scroll a bit to the right, you can see they're all listed in Stavanger, which is where they were added in the first place. So that's comments. Next up is data limit. So up until now, the visual has had a hard-coded data limit inside the code. We have now in version 8.1 added an option in the format pane where you can specify how much data you want to let into the visual. So if you go to the format pane, you'll find data limit, and its default set to 3000. That has always been the default number. The reason we set it there is that it goes through a performance testing when we certify it, and if it doesn't perform at a certain level, it doesn't pass certification. So we need to set a limit in order to make sure it goes through. Now it's set to default 3000, but you're now able to specify the limit yourself. So if you increase this to up to a maximum of 30,000 rows, it might impact performance, but then that's your choice. So you need to find the balance between how much data you want to add to the visual and how well you want it to perform. So what users would normally see when they have too much data is something like this, because these 2 visuals should be the same. They have the same data added to them. But this one is cut off. It says too many values, not showing all data. That would be the default thing if you had more than 3,000 rows. So now there are a couple of ways to fix it. One is to remove fields from the hierarchy to make sure you have less data than the limit. Or you can now go to the format pane, data limit, and update this to a higher number. And then it shows all the data that's available up until that limit. So again, 30,000 is the maximum, and it's up to you to find a balance between how much data you want to add into the visual and the performance of the visual. The third one is tooltip. It's not a feature we have developed, but it's a default Power BI feature that we have added support for. So now if you select the visual and you go to the format pane and the general tab, you have this tooltip, which is the general Power BI tooltip section, where you can select a default tooltip, which will just show some information, or you can now do a report page and specify which report page you want to use as a tooltip. Now for this to work, you need to go to the report page and set it as a tooltip page. So I can go to the one I'm using, tooltip page. It's a hidden page with a smaller report page. If I go to the format pane and page information, you can see this used as a tooltip. Allow use as tooltip has been turned on. That makes it available to pick from the list of pages you want to use inside your tooltip. So now if I go back to this general tooltip, you can see the tooltip page is the one I'm using. So now when I hover over the visual, you can see that the information here is now showing a filtered version of the tooltip page. So this is something we added support for in version 8.1. As you can see in this example, the 11 million on payroll for 2022, it's now broken down into accounts on the tooltip page, but there's a scroll bar. So there's too much data to show inside the size of the tooltip. Now there's no way to kind of jump over, or you might be lucky, but it's really hard to jump over and be able to scroll. So if you want to be able to see everything inside the tooltip, you either need to filter it down to kind of minimize the amount of data that's visible inside, or if you want to have everything, you can drill through, on this number to a different destination. So if you drill through to this, you can see the same table and you can scroll through the details. And also combine other visuals on this page that will be filtered based on the context you're drilling from. Last part of the video has to do with conditional formatting. We've always had conditional formatting, but we've made some improvements to it. So if we go to the three meatballs and click on edit, you'll get into the edit mode for the visual. And now you can right click on a column header and you can add conditional formatting like before. But instead of the formula bar on top of the visual, you now get a conditional formatting pane on the right side. You can now name the steps. So instead of just having conditional formatting actuals, which is what it usually looked like, you can now give it a new name and you can specify what's happening in the step. So I'm going to leave that as actuals, and I'm going to say green on positives. Then I can say if actuals is greater than 0, then apply a style, and then you can pick any style from the drop down. You have 6 to choose from. Number 1 here has been configured earlier to be green font, and then when I click apply, you'll see the formatting is applied. And now it's easier to identify which step formatting is happening. So if I go back into this, I can add or change the condition or the formatting for the step. I can also add a new step, and I can call this red on negatives. Then it's going to be less than, and choose a different style, configure it to red. So custom 2, and that's a configuration for my style number 2. If you use all the 6 styles and you're kind of out of options and you want to do something different, you now have a new option where you can go in and you can say, let's say budget custom formatting. And then we can say if budget is greater than 0, then I want to use a custom style. So now you're free to configure this exactly like you want. It's not going to be something you can reuse across multiple steps, but now you have basically limitless ways to combine formatting. So I can say bold, italic, the background should be green, and the font should be blue. And then you can also add a frame to this. Let's say we want an orange frame, and so underline, top lines, left, right, or frame to wrap it. And then hit apply, and then you get a hideous result, but it's the way you specified it to be. So you have a lot of flexibility to make this look as great or as hideous as you want. Some of you might feel that you're missing the optional formatting, optional condition field for formatting. It's still here, but if we go to, I'm going to go to the red one, red on negatives. You can add a condition, and that can be a condition similar to the section you already have, and you can choose if you want to be both have to be true or only one of them has to be true to apply the style, or you can delete that additional condition and you can add a formula condition. Then you get this field where you can specify what you want to be in a new condition. In one example would be row header is equal to sales. So that would mean that the formatting will only apply if the row name is equal to sales. So if I apply this, you'll see that the formatting is only happening on the top and not anywhere else in the visual. So the option to add a optional formula, column formula, conditional formula is still there. You just need to select it and you can remove it. That's all for now. Thank you for watching, and make sure to follow and subscribe to stay updated on the financial reporting matrix.